Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. We are back for another human design and business slash marketing live. Claire will be joining me here in the next few moments. So if you haven't heard yet, here she is. Marketing program. This is a condensed container, so it will just be a month and you will get the same amount of impact, all the same information. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Taking a giant gulp of my coffee right when I got in. So good. How are you?
It's necessary, isn't it, today? Thanks so much for bearing with me and everyone else. I was a little late today, but it happens. Just a crazy day already.
It does happen. It's like it's a full moon tomorrow. The energy is so weird this week. I feel like everyone is feeling some type of way. No safe.
Yeah, right. And I know that you were doing a lot of lives talking about that already this week. Do you want to kind of start there and share with us what's going on?
Yeah, sure. So astrology obviously feeds into human design, but this is going to be more astrology based. So just for anybody listening to this, I'll post a reel about it. I'm going to post it today. So definitely check that out too. It'll have just more information about this. But I think the biggest summary is tomorrow's a full moon in Aries. It's peaking at like 7 a.m. Eastern. So it's basically tonight. Tonight, tomorrow is when we're going to feel it. And I would say the biggest thing to note from this is we're coming off of two of the most chaotic months of all of 2024. Like August was just wonky in every single way. Astrologically, the planets reflected this. It was weird, chaotic, ungrounded energy. And then we had eclipse season the past month. And that rocked a select few quite a bit. And I think the collective in a different way as well, where I think just a lot of revelations came to the surface, and some people were ready to deal with them, and other people, maybe it was a little too overwhelming. And now we're a month removed from the eclipses. Tomorrow's the first full moon since them. And it's like Aries, the sign of taking action, being bold, asserting yourself, following and forging your own path, and like really just being unapologetically authentic and true to yourself. That's, I think, the first test, if you will, following this weird season where we're on the precipice of change. Like astrology aside, especially in the United States, there's a lot going on right now. There's so many planets astrologically that are literally at the last degree of the sign that they've been in for decades at this point, or like just years at this point. So there's a lot in the collective and on a personal level, because it's always macro micro how it's showing up, that's shifting. And I think for some people that's going to feel like a breath of fresh air, and for other people it might feel very shaky, ungrounded, unstable, and overwhelming. And so whichever camp you fall into, or maybe even both of those two feelings, I'm feeling a blend of both of them. It's really just about recognizing, I think you and I were talking about this a little bit, it's always temporary. And I think that's why I love astrology, is it gives you this kind of context of why it's happening, where it's showing up, but it also is giving you this understanding of, if you need a light at the end of the tunnel, here's a time frame to kind of expect this feeling to come up. And so we're going to feel it big right now. This week has been really tense, but I think it'll feel a lot lighter in the coming month, though change is still going to be happening. So let's, buckle up.
I love it. Thanks so much, Claire. That was like a nice opening because obviously inside our container, when we launch later this month, you will have that support, right? And Claire and I find a lot of clarity inside these containers as well, where we're learning from you all. And again, it's that collective energy where maybe you've been feeling a little bit uneasy, just knowing that astrologically that makes a lot of sense, and that we are kind of coming up to this massive shift. So really inside our human design and marketing container, if you haven't checked out some of our feedback from our lives that we've done, and even on our both of our pages now of videos of people inside our container, you'll definitely want to do that. We only have 2 spots left, so We are looking to launch here towards the end of October. Thanks everybody for joining our live today. So excited to see you all. I see like a few different people coming from our audiences, but yeah, so we have 2 spots left. So really, as you're coming up to this astrology change as well, what will happen for you inside this container is putting together, okay, this makes sense why I've had the same pattern over and over and over again in my business. For example, if you struggle with staying consistent with content or staying consistent with getting leads, this is a great place to learn more about yourself and learn how to work with your energy so you're not constantly stopping and going in your business, which a lot of us entrepreneurs feel on a weekly, sometimes a daily basis. So anything else you want to add there, Claire?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, perfect summary. I would just say something that came up to me while you were saying that is like defining, we always talk about defining what success means to you. I feel like as an entrepreneur, what this container specifically can support you with is defining what consistency means to you as well, what that's going to look like on, again, macro, micro, what a buzzword right now, apparently, but like figuring out what that looks like on the annual scheme, on the quarterly scheme, the monthly scheme, the weekly, the daily, and just figuring out, you know, your energy is designed to flow in a specific way. And we want to work with that instead of trying to force against it, because it's really ultimately going to just make everything much easier for you. And obviously a better experience for your clients as well when you're leaning into that and embracing it and taking breaks and taking rests when you need to. The overarching consistency is really what matters. It's not like, wow, I was supposed to work today and I didn't. It's like, did I get everything accomplished by the end of the week because I actually honored my cycles?
Such a good point. Yeah, it's not really going to be a daily type of analysis of your energy. It is more of that weekly, like Claire mentioned, and a lot of our feedback has actually been about some of the information that Claire shared inside this human design container, strictly about diets and when you should be eating, because there's a lot based around your human design that many people don't know. I had no clue that it's normal for me to want different types of meals. Like, I'm not really a meal prep type of gal. I like to have things easy on hand because I am sometimes, like today, on back-to-back calls from 10 a.m. until 4:30 in the afternoon. That's just the name of the game sometimes when it comes to entrepreneurship. And then the rest of my week may be very empty, right? Where I do have time for more CEO projects. That's actually how I prefer my schedule to run. I know Claire is very much so similar. So we operate more on a weekly scale, and that helps you reorganize your time based off of your energetics inside this human design container, that you won't just be knowing like, okay, I'm a projector. You're actually going to learn what are the nuances when it comes to business based around why you are a projector and you're continuously hitting these same blocks over and over again. So that all happens in week 1 and week 2. And about week 3 and week 4 is where we're going to actually implement a lot of what you learned about human design and see it combined with business. And that's where Claire and I will also come in, where you will meet with both of us separately one-on-one, and then we'll also have a joint one-on-one where if you have human design and marketing questions, we will both be there inside this container as well. So you're getting a lot of time with us, which I think is an awesome deal, but also a great time to learn more if you haven't yet.
100%. Yeah, I feel like the blend of the joint call is so fun. Like just the fact that it's the double whammy. Obviously, we're communicating constantly, Caitlin and I. Like, it's not like things are getting left behind and Caitlin's not familiar with your human design, like, and I'm not familiar with the marketing strategies that you're sharing. But I think just being able to have the two heads together supporting you is a really fun, unique feature. And I also just want to add one quick bit to what you just said about the eating. Oh, thumbs down. Oops, I love the hand motions. Thumbs up. I'm sorry about that. So dumb how it does that. Anyway, talking about the diet piece, I think another reason that really kind of landed and changed the way that a lot of the clients that we worked with last time were operating within their businesses on a daily basis is because, wow, this cycles, the macro micro, it's coming up 9,000 times, but truly it's like, it's so much more than just diet. I think diet is one of the most literal ways that we can take it, but it's about how we are processing energy essentially. So it's everything you're consuming. And so the diet piece in human design, yes, it speaks to the food you eat and how you can really activate your potential through eating nutritious foods, but also the kinds of foods that are going to give you the most, literally the most energy, which is different for everybody. But it's also going to teach you, you know, if you do have the type of business where learning information, where you're maybe doing continuing education or things like that is required, or you just like to learn, maybe you have a one line in your human design profile, you're going to understand that there are kind of cycles around that as well, where it's going to be really supportive for you to ingest, consume information in a specific way as well, not just food. And I think that's been such a, for me, that's been such a kind of permission slip to recognize that I have alternating appetite and I'm actually going to be much more productive if I am working on multiple things in one day versus sticking to one thing and trying to knock it out in one setting. I actually do much better when I start like one of my really long full moon or new moon emails. When I start that one day and finish it another day and mix other projects in between, it's so much better than when I push it to the very last minute and try to knock it out in one sitting.
Oh, it's such a good point because also with like the consumption, what we chatted about in the container, which kind of is just flowing back to me that you mentioned is like consumption of content too, right? Like education, all the information that you're getting from your team. Like there's so much information that you get as a CEO that many people in this world never experience. Like there's constant exchange of communication when you're a business owner. So when Claire's talking more about like, okay, this is what works best for me on a daily basis with consumption, that may also be with social media and different ways that you're consuming any type of energy. I love that you shared that. I think that that's a really important point. And it's also helped a lot of our clients inside this container find that sweet spot. Like I'm actually the complete opposite of Claire. If I sit down and I need to get something done, I will work on it for an hour, hour and a half, and get it done. That's just best for my design. So that's what else is really cool is because you have both of us inside this container and we have almost polar opposite signs when it comes to all of this, we can help you from that sliding scale of what actually works. Like some clients inside the container are like, hey, I don't really love social media, but I know that I need social media and I'm not at a place to outsource it. Okay, let's find what works for you. Maybe it's hopping on your stories, turning that story into a reel, saving your time and effort. Yeah, that was good timing for that one.
I don't know why it's doing that, but anyway, just yes, 100%. I think it's really just to like tie it all together to make it just really make sense here. Like, I know we've talked about it. It's in the sheet. If you've gone and looked at what we're sharing in our stories, the link to actually check out the details on this. But that's really what we mean when we're talking about blending this human design information with your business strategy. It goes so much further than just marketing. It's like, how am I actually going to basically strategize and lay out my game plan to meet my goals, to get clients, to support clients, to also support myself in a really sustainable way that's not going to burn me out? Because I think anybody who is a business owner knows that that is a very real possibility. And I would say it, you know, tiny versions of that are likely to show you when maybe it is time to step back and revisit the information that we're looking at. And I know that the clients that were in this last round, several of them have come to me and shared those kind of aha after the fact moments as well, where it's like, I saw this coming up in real time and I actually was able to nip it in the bud a lot sooner than what it could have been previously.
Such a good point. Like it's also true about those ebbs and flows of your energies and knowing, like Claire said at the top of this live, this too shall pass. Like knowing that it's going to come to an end instead of feeling like it's doomsday, which again, we all have experienced. And that's what else I love about this container and working with someone like Claire is vulnerability is welcomed inside this container, you know? That's what we share. She and I share our struggles inside this container, like we do on this live. We also work together inside the hub, the co-creative hub, where I lead a vulnerable networking. So even if you're not in a place to purchase this container, that may also be a great place where you get access to Claire and I as well. However, if you're feeling inclined to join this, I highly recommend joining now. This is like a very reasonably priced program for this time of year. And you, again, get a lot of time one-on-one with us. So if you've been wanting to do a human design reading, you don't know anyone, this is the great time to kind of dip your toes in this side of the world. Anything else, Claire, that you want to share before we wrap up today?
No, I think that's a great point, and we probably haven't talked about it enough. So just yes, just recognizing the fact that like regardless of the fact that you're getting all of this information, you are getting weekly group coaching support as well. Just the 3 one-on-one sessions or 2-on-1 in the one where we're doing it joint, like that with the price point that we have this at is literally less than what both of us charge as an hourly type of coaching rate. So just recognizing like you're already getting your bang for your buck, if you will, from just those one-on-one calls, let alone all of the rest of the information and support that you're going to get. So yeah, I do know that we're definitely going to reevaluate this moving forward. And so if, you know, do it when it feels right to you. Obviously, that's a part of what it means to be an intuitive business owner. It'll be here again. Like we're really enjoying this and probably want to do it over and over again and different iterations, but it's probably not going to be where it's at right now. Let's just just call it what it is.
Totally. This is a great deal. Like, let's just really drive the topic home. Welcome, everybody that's just joining us today. If you have any questions about human design and marketing before we wrap up here, of course, add them in the comments or feel free to direct message us. Claire and I are just sharing more about our Empowered Entrepreneurship program that we're launching later this month. We do have 2 spots left. So if you're sitting on your edge of your seat and you're like, how much does this cost? It's literally $525, which Claire mentioned is less than one-on-ones with both of us. It's like such a good deal. And you get 3 one-on-ones and you get weekly coaching for a whole month. It's a perfect way to round out the year and you'll learn a lot about yourself in the process. So again, if you're feeling uneasy about your business, you've been following all of the blueprints for X amount of months, years, maybe some of us, and it's not working, let's get you, recalibrated with your energy and really utilizing it to the best of your ability. We're in 2024, almost 2025. This is the way the world is going to work. It's no longer going to be, this is what worked for me, this is what will work for you. We are taking this trailblazing approach of really personalized coaching based off of your human design, which is literally based off of the day that you were born, where you were born, the time you were born, all the planets. If you don't know, Claire's really the expert in that side of things, and I'm bringing more of that marketing and business lens. We've expanded to more of business. If you followed us before on this, where we talked about marketing. It was funny, inside our container, marketing was like one of the smallest things that I feel like we actually talked about. And it was really from this greater scheme of business and how we want to operate our aligned business based off of being an intuitive. So there is much more than just marketing conversations happening. It's really more about business. And because both of us also are business owners, we're able to lend that lens for you both as well.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said that because I feel like that really was the focus. It's like how to actually be an intuitive business owner, which inherently by nature means that it's going to look different for you than it is for me. So the human design piece of this is going to inform us as to how we can kind of shape that. And I think the beauty of it too is like you get to refine it over time. It's not like everything's going to be nailed down after 1 month. You're just going to have this very comprehensive toolkit of things that you can continue to dabble with and play with and just continue to hone it as you move through running your business. And I don't know, I mean, again, I'm an alternating appetite, so I'll leave this with like my the way that I like to dive into my work and consume and pour into the resources of what I am doing with my business. They are very seasonal as well. And I know that in the fall, in the winter period, this is the type of support that I like to get. I don't want to necessarily be doing like high level technical logistical strategies and goal setting personally. And this is just so about finding your flow, which I think just really kind of matches with the season that we're in right now. It's like I can figure out the logistics after the fact, but I kind of need these stakes in the ground to know what I want it to flow around. So
Yeah, like in my experience as well, I feel like my business at one point, if a lot of you know me, you probably have heard this on my podcast. It didn't work, okay? It was not working. It was horrible. I hated getting up in the morning. It literally, I equate it to my podcast as being a jail cell. Like, I recreated everything that I wanted to get away from in conventional business society in my own life. And that's what can happen when you are just kind of following blindlessly and moving forward with coaches, bless their hearts, that are giving you the information that they know worked best for them, but it's not going to work for you. And if you're on this live, you probably know that it's not working and you're probably looking for a solution. Let's be honest, because sometimes it does just end up magically coming together, and that's lovely. But in my experience, it was not like that. I really almost thought about closing down my business. And I have a lot of these conversations around this time of year because we're coming up to the end of the year. A lot of business owners want to walk away from what they've created, what they've poured their hearts into for so many months and so many years. Let us help you take one more jump. See if this will work for you. Again, it's $525 for 1 month. You'll be finished by the end of the year. And then you can make your justified decision, right? If you want to move forward. But I highly recommend doing this before you give up, because there is a way to do an aligned business. And Claire's really helped me with that too.
well, thank you. Obviously mutual. Like, I feel like it's totally teamwork. And yes, just echo everything you said. And I think the cool piece is, to your example that you just shared, if you decide to pivot down the line, whether it's now, whether it's 5 years from now, and if that means you don't want to be a business owner at some point, or you want to take a smaller role and just be a part of an entrepreneurship and not necessarily be the CEO, like, this is just going to support you to understand your energy and cycles. I can tell you right now that, quite frankly, this was designed for entrepreneurs, but it could support anybody. So just know that this is valuable information, no matter what path you end up taking, I think.
Couldn't agree more. It's like helped me with my team. It's helped me with my family. It's helped me with people that I meet on the street that are sometimes having a bad day. Bless their hearts. Like, give a lot of grace, right? Because we don't know their human design, how they're processing information, what their day was like. It just helps you lead with, again, a lot more aligned decisions, aligned actions. For me, that just happens to be in like a lot of relationship based conversations. And I believe that a lot of people don't think about their business like that, but your business is basically just an ecosystem of relationships that you're nurturing over and over and over again. And when those relationships are severed, most of the time it's a miscommunication or a misaligned energy, which can easily be brought to light inside this container, but also outside of this container, just learning things like human design to be able to read some of that energy for yourself and for others more.
Yes, just 1000% yes.
Yay. Well, thanks so much, Claire. This was so good. And again, for anybody live or catching the replay, please feel free to message us. We're going to put the link in our stories one more time so you can all check it out. You can apply through the page there or just DM us to get enrolled. Only 2 spots left. This is a very small container. That's the way we like it. So hopefully we'll see you all soon.
Yes,
Thanks.
hopefully.